You can't expect us to be passive, take the whip from massa. If you're white and you're my friend, then acknowledge what happens. And I say this with a passion, if you can't do that, then it's time to call it quits on any interactions. I broke down and cried, people with this skin know why. I'm not scared of death, but I don't get why we had to die. Murdered and served with injustice. It took more than 2 months to prosecute the devils who cornered and shot my brother. They put their feet on us, knees on us, choke us out, beat us up. And it's recorded so we see it's us. They get a slap on the wrist, they might lose their job, but they walk around free like they weren't involved. While we get locked up for less, some weed for coping with stress. You're supposed to protect and serve, it turns out you're the real threat. Everywhere you go, there's death and destruction.
What's going on, good people? We back with yet another episode of With Time We Can. This week, I wanted to give the opportunity to come on this platform and speak about his experiences watching his, older brother be incarcerated, being a community activist, staying strong, living in the mad city, and just being a pillar in his own community, in his own way, in his own language. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to TA3, Tajon Watson.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, brother?
I'm great, and yourself?
I'm good, man. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Of course.
Definitely, man. So I just want to give you the opportunity, man, to just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, bro.
Okay, so my name is Tajon A. Watson. As BJ said, I go by TA3. I'm a trombonist, I'm a rapper, I'm a poet, and I'm a songwriter. And I'm very good at all of those things, hence why I title myself as that. I'm also a college student. I go to Berklee College of Music. I'm a 6th semester student. I'm about to graduate. I'm a double major. I'm a music business and performance major. And I also have a minor in audio engineering. So I do a little bit of studio work as well.
Wow, you do all that, man. How old are you, brother?
I'm 20 years old.
20 years old. I know your mom and dad is proud, man.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
Well, let's just get started, man. This is a prison reform platform, but before we even get into that, man, I just want to ask you recently made a song titled I Don't Want to Die.
Yes.
And the message behind that, man, it was so powerful for somebody your age to express themselves like that in such a meticulous way, like you really got away with words, brother.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate it. But I just want to, what motivated you to even do that, for the people?
Well, the first thing I do want to say is that I wish I didn't have to write that song. I wish it wasn't necessary. I wish I didn't have to speak on that subject. I wish this wasn't a thing. But I wrote that more to educate non-colored people who aren't colored, white people specifically.
Okay.
Black people understand that. We know what it's like. We know what it's like to be pulled over and to be terrified, or to know that any encounter on any given day, you could just be minding your business and your life is always threatened.
Right.
So people don't understand that until you tell them. And you really, it's not enough to just say it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people know me. I have a large circle of people I interact with. And it's not something that I always talk about, but man, I do. I live, I don't want to say the word fear, but I live knowing that something could happen to me at any given time. And people don't understand what that's like. So I had to detail it, and I had to make it raw, and I had to put it in their face.
Yeah, man. And you even dropped some tears at the end of the video, man. It's so powerful. Yeah, man. So what was the emotion while you was writing that? And even recording it?
Man, so the whole thing with George Floyd was it was so traumatizing. For 2 weeks, I was just crying. It was random. I was watching Black Lightning one time.
Okay.
And
great show, by the way.
It is a great show. It is a great show. So I love it. I was just enjoying it. I was eating food. I was just watching it. And there was a scene where he got beat up by officers. And I cried. I broke down. And you know, normally things like that don't get to me, but man, after seeing George Floyd, and I was off for a couple of weeks, and so I kept trying to express to let it out, but it was a long, frustrating, and hurtful process.
Right.
And if I have to experience discomfort, then everybody has to feel that way too.
Exactly. And I just again, man, I just love the way that you you didn't go out here and tear up a building. You know, you put it out there in your own way. So I want to say, as a older generation, thank you for your courage, and thank you for just your strength behind that, man, because it touched me. Now, I want to ask you, man, so I just want to go back into your childhood. Like, where are you from, bro?
I'm from Lumberton, New Jersey.
Okay.
It's a small suburb about 20 minutes from Trenton. But I grew up in a split household, so I'm very familiar with Trenton. I've been coming to Trenton all my life. I was born in Trenton, so.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So how was living in the suburbs, man? Like, how was your experience?
It's good, but it's very challenging in its own right. It has its own different set of issues. So like, I've experienced racism. I've felt that before. I was in advanced placement AP classes, honors classes, and I would be the only one who with brown skin in the class. And it's challenging to have people who don't look like you teach you, and you know, to have people not understand you and really understand the issues that you grapple with.
Right.
I had an experience where I was at the park and in my area, and a truck rolled by and they flashed a Confederate flag at me.
Really?
And you wouldn't expect these things because we're in the North and because of New Jersey, whatever. It's a local, whatever. But racism exists everywhere.
Wow.
And you know, so that it had its own challenges, but it was a great experience overall.
I mean, that's a lot to, hey man, it's a lot to go through for somebody your age. Now, did you say you grew up in a split household? Did you primarily grow up with your mother?
Yes, I was around my mom a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how did she prepare you for the life that she knew obviously you were going to endure as a black man in a predominantly white neighborhood? Yeah,
that's a great question. Well, we had long talks surrounding everything every time an incident happened, or even when it didn't. You know, my mom always made a point to humanize me, to make me feel human again.
Okay.
Because often, so many times, especially as a black male, people try to invalidate your feelings, like you don't feel it, like you're not entitled to your feelings. Like, so time and time again, she would reassure me and just let me know that like she not only does she care about me, but like I'm a person, I'm a human being, and people need to treat me with the decency of a human being.
Wow.
The same thing that we still fight for today in society.
Wow. Your mom really prepared you, man.
She did.
Really did. It always takes that strong woman, man, to stand up and raise our sons and daughters to be leaders such as yourself. You know, now the flip side. Your father is from Trenton, still in Trenton? Okay, so how was it going to Trenton? Now that's a whole different culture over there, you know? So how was it going over there? Seeing the types of individuals that live there, the community is different. How was that for a young man? So oftentimes I felt ostracized from my own community. You know, when I was younger, I would get picked on and teased a lot. I'm that black boy that they would call white boy. I was white to them because of the way that I talk, because of the way that I walk. And still to this day, like these are still issues that I grapple with because I don't fit the image. I don't fit the image. Heard you.
And back in the suburbs, I don't fit the image. It doesn't matter where I go. I don't fit the image. So it was challenging. Also, it was also very challenging.
Wow.
More so from your own people though.
So it was I don't want to put words in your mouth, but in my opinion, what I'm hearing is it hurt more going to Trenton and feeling ostracized rather than going back home, because you kind of understood it at home because you black in the white community. Yeah. But then when you got the black kids not accepting you, that was hard.
And, you know, I think the worst part of it is that like I know that it's true. Well, like of course I'm black, you know, but I don't walk a certain way. Like I don't talk so what they're saying is valid.
Yeah.
But you know, it took me a long time to be comfortable with that. That's okay. That's fine, because at the end of the day, I'm still black. So
right. I
what
mean,
it is.
you know, yeah. And you come from a great family too, man.
Yeah.
And I know him personally. So let's get into the prison stuff.
Yes.
So you have an older brother.
Yes.
And who I've heard of, and he's been incarcerated. Is he still there?
Yes, he's currently incarcerated. Spent a lot of time missing my brother. Just like physically, like presence, like a lot of time. Like, don't get me wrong, he was there, but it's had a tremendous effect on my family.
Okay, now can you explain that effect? And you can go as detailed if you want, but I want to know like the effects of older, like, you know, a father figure in a way, in so many words, a father figure being taken out of the house. You know, how did that affect you?
Well, if I'm being honest, because I spent most of the time, like, I live with my mom, and that's where I stayed there most of the time. So I didn't really feel it full force, but I always missed him. And still, because that's my family, that's my brother.
Yeah,
so
you love him. Yeah.
And still to this day, I miss him. And because I know how evil the U.S. prison system, because I understand the evil things and how the system is set up, it makes me miss him that much more, because you know, it's supposed to be corrective. It's supposed to be we're punishing people and branding them and for life, scarring them for life. It's not serving its job. Where the U.S. system is centered around punishing instead of rehabilitating. Which is its claimed purpose.
Right. I'm curious, man, because you seem like such an intelligent young man. In an alternative universe, if you had the power to change something about the criminal justice system, what would you change?
It needs a complete overhaul. The fact that some prisons are privatized and that people can own... it's such a great question, but I get overwhelmed when I think about it, because there's so much to tackle. But what is it? The 13th Amendment? The 13th Amendment, there's a clause that states that you're property of the government. You are a slave once you become a prisoner.
Wow.
And in other countries, it's not like that.
Right.
The Constitution is a great place to start.
Yeah. So you should make the changes of the Constitution.
Yes.
That's what you would say.
Yeah, because people benefit, they exploit prisoners, they profit off of a prisoner.
Right.
And treat them like it is slavery. I mean, it's not like slavery. It's modern day slavery. That's exactly what it is. Right. And they make it so that once you leave, once you're out of the prison system, you're branded for life. Every job application has that clause in it where you have to disclose if you've been incarcerated before.
Right. Absolutely. Now, do you still keep in touch with your brother that is upstate?
I don't really talk to him that often, but the love is there, and I can't wait for him to get out. I can't.
That's pretty good, man. So what about the projects that you got going on right now, man? I mean, we touched on a lot, but I definitely want to know what you got going on.
So I had a lot going on prior to COVID, prior to what happened with George Floyd.
Yeah.
But what I'm working on right now, I got a whole bunch of singles coming out. I'm working on an EP.
Okay.
A lot of musical stuff going on.
Okay. Now, where can individuals that want to learn more about you and follow your movement, where can they find your material at?
I highly suggest you follow me on Instagram at TA3_MC. That's where you're going to get the meat of the information. But I also have a YouTube, which is TA3. I'm on Spotify, to all streaming platforms, SoundCloud, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, you name it, I'm there. And I have a lot of good stuff coming out, a lot of good stuff. Okay.
Now, I appreciate that, man. And for y'all that missed that, I'll leave a link in the description so everybody can make sure that they support this great young man, okay? So another question I wanted to ask is just about, your generation's language. You know, we're not that far in age, but I just feel like, your generation is just so tough, man. Like, you know, like they ain't laying down. They ain't doing too many protests and they ain't doing all this non-violent stuff, which is, you know what? It's fine with me because it's a form of protest. You know, you can't judge somebody and say, oh, looting is bad. Breaking stuff is bad. But that's your language, though. Now, what would you have to say to the people in your generation in order to push this agenda of equality and love for all?
Again, it goes back to what my mom says. You're entitled to the way that you feel. So if you want to burn everything, now, you know, I don't believe, as a Jehovah's Witness, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, so I don't believe in violence and I don't advocate it. But we are entitled to our feelings. And look at what's happening. If burning down things is the answer and it's going to make you pay attention to me and how I feel, then burn everything down. Why not? We built this country anyway. It's ours anyway, so we're entitled to it. But I also think that, you know, for young people who don't know, just find your way. My way isn't being out there. You know, it's not looting. It's not. I'm effective as a musician and as an artist. So I maximize that lane. So find your lane and operate in it.
That's great, man. That's great advice. You know, just find everybody's not built to be on the front line. But that doesn't mean that you can't be effective.
Facts.
You know, and the last thing that I want to ask you, man, by the way, this is a great interview. I appreciate you coming down here, man, and giving this to me, man. But I just want to ask you one question. I see you got a pretty decent family, a couple younger brothers and siblings and nieces and nephews. I know you feel like a proud big brother, proud uncle. Now, what advice would you give to the generation after you that wants to get involved, but they just need that guidance? They may not be rappers, they may not be singers, but they need that guidance, man. And I know you alluded to it before, but find your lane. But what if you got a lost soul that just don't know their lane? What would you tell them?
That's an issue that I still struggle with, because prior to me putting out anything, I felt so helpless. I see the issue and I see friends posting and like social media isn't my thing. I don't enjoy using social media, so I'm not gonna post. But you know, I think a huge thing comes from education. Like if you educate yourself, there's no way you cannot speak out against the issue. I took a course on mass incarceration and it opened my eyes so much. It infuriated me so much so to the point where I can't sit quietly. I can't sit idly by. These are all issues, and it's not something that just affects the Black community or the Black. It's a human issue. It is a human issue. So you know, if you educate yourself on the matter, then you're gonna find your way. That's how it works.
Wow, excellent, man. And with that said, again, thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, y'all listen to that. I Don't Want to Die, TA3 on Instagram and YouTube. With time we can, another episode in the books. We out.